great-grandmother had been here for 10 years, yet spoke no English. Oh my gosh. 1930 census says Tommy's 3 times great-grandmother had been here for 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak English either. She doesn't even know her own history. She certainly doesn't know this country's history.
Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found that my family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian and German. Okay. And really what she did is prove that my family came here.
They tried to stay quiet, but Lahren didn't come to play. This wasn't a roast. It was a full-on public takedown. And Sunny, she walked into it like it was a TED Talk. No armor, no plan B. What started as a smug back-and-forth spiraled into a verbal bloodbath. Lahren came in swinging like she was fighting for her life. And what she pulled from under the rug? It wasn't dust bunnies. It was hypocrisy, double standards, and secrets nobody was ready to see. Sunny, the walking LinkedIn post who acts like she's curing the internet one sentence at a time, she didn't just lose. She got wrecked. Not gently, not by accident. Strategically torn apart. Layer after layer, Lahren exposed it all. Like peeling a Kardashian wedding cake, but with way more drama. Fans were stunned. Memes exploded. And now, the silence is louder than words. Was this the day Sunny's mask finally slipped, or has it been cracking all along?
What she was hoping to do was try to call me a hypocrite for believing in merit-based immigration. Again, she failed miserably. But this really isn't what she calls resistance genealogy. It's just another indication of Trump derangement syndrome. I really am happy, though, that she has such a fascination with my family history, and I'm hoping that she will take on Elizabeth Warren's next.
Wow, that would be very interesting.
She's known for starting fires. But this time, Lahren dropped a match and walked away smiling. Sunny didn't just fall from grace, she crumbled. Like a Jenga tower built out of smug tweets and recycled moral lectures. You know Sunny, the walking TED Talk nobody asked for. The drama queen who weaponizes disagreement like it's an Olympic sport. Every sentence dipped in ego, every breath a chance to go viral. But this time, the script flipped. She tried to lead with that infamous line. As a woman of color? But before the room could even finish its collective eye roll, Lahren struck. No yelling, no theatrics, just a mirror. Sharp enough to slice through the entire facade. Sunny didn't stumble. She face-planted, dressed in full, "I'm right. You're canceled, couture," and still got wrecked. And what shattered her? A single moment of truth she couldn't spin.
It was from sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners.
Sunny's entire persona built on this illusion that she's the intellect of the view. But let's be honest, that's like being the wisest emoji in your aunt's group chat. Her playbook? Flash the moral superiority card, layer it in elitist. Buzzwords. Top it with a tone that screams, "I skimmed the Constitution once, and now I am the Constitution." But here's where it unravels. The moment someone asks her to back it up, everything collapses. Like a goldfish trying to explain. Quantum physics, complete with slow-motion hair flips, theatrical pauses, and just enough self-righteous outrage to fuel an entire Bravo season.
Provide them with DNA, 23andMe, because I cannot believe the detail on your background that they were able to get.
Well, I don't have to. She did all the research for me, so I'm sure my family is very appreciative.
What about Joy saying that, what are your skills? It's beyond research. It is personal. It is mean.
Well, of course, this is classical Joy Behar, but I would like to ask Joy Behar what her skills are, because perhaps we could swap stories. I know I watch Joy, and she seems like a highly skilled lady, but for her to attack me, that's really interesting. Those in glass houses should not throw stones.
It all detonated when, of course, Sunny decided to launch yet another attack. This time, She came for conservatives like they were some prehistoric army of rage-fueled Neanderthals, with Wi-Fi. In her world, if you're even 2 inches right. Of Bernie Sanders, you're wearing a tinfoil hat and screaming at your screen. She sat on that couch like a woke supervillain. The Thanos of hot takes. One smug snap away from making logic, nuance, and dissent disappear. But then, boom, everything shifted. Lauren entered the chat, and she wasn't just ready. She was loaded. Receipts, quotes, timelines. Like a walking, talking fact grenade with flawless delivery, and that quiet confidence. It made Sunny's polished persona shatter, like press-on nails at a heavyweight match. This wasn't just a clash, it was a dismantling. Sunny showed up with glitter. Lauren showed up with steel. At first, Sunny's points sparkled with smug energy. But when the facts dropped, they deflated. Fast. You could almost hear it. Her argument collapsing under its own weight, and Lauren didn't just call out one contradiction. She exposed the formula. Outrage when it trends. Buzzwords without depth. Volume over truth, so now we ask, when the applause fades, what's left of Sunny's truth?
You that bothers him so much.
Well, it's not just me, it's anybody who advocates for merit-based immigration or has an issue with open borders. And again, just like you said, they don't seem to understand that we on the right believe in immigration. We understand that we are a nation of immigrants, and I am proud of my heritage. However, I do believe that the immigration crisis of today is apples to oranges from what it was in the 1800s when immigrants came to this country legally, were documented, worked for themselves, asked for nothing, and built a life and a family. Yeah. That has nothing to do with the illegal immigration crisis of today that we must deal with. But they don't want to acknowledge that.
She calls it passion. But to everyone watching, it's control. Dressed up in democracy. Sunny's monologues, oh, they sound poetic. Democracy. Freedom. The moral high ground wrapped in studio lighting. But behind the words, there's a gate. And she's standing in front of it, velvet rope in hand, deciding who gets to speak, disagree with her. Suddenly your mic, your platform, maybe even your right to exist in the conversation, gets put on trial. That's not dialogue. That's dictatorship in designer heels. She's the TMZ bouncer of free speech, smiling until someone challenges her script. But then, Lauren showed up, and everything cracked. Lauren didn't raise her voice. She raised the truth, receipts, contradictions, the very facts Sunny swore to stand on, crumbling beneath her. It was brutal, like watching someone realize their $200 vintage wine is boxed Merlot wearing Gucci. Sunny froze. The silence was loud, eyes darting, voice shaking, her signature confidence gone, like smoke after a match is dropped, and she had no plan B, just louder smugness, then the panic, then cut to commercial. But Lauren wasn't done. She went for the core, Sunny's favorite move, playing spokesperson for every marginalized group, like it's identity bingo. She treats lived experience like collectible cards. Pick the one that fits the moment, and when cornered, pull it out like an Uno reverse. It's not activism, it's performance. And Lauren called it. So now the question isn't, was Sunny wrong? It's deeper, more uncomfortable, more real.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity and she had no idea who she
She doesn't just speak. She performs like every sentence is a TED Talk, sponsored by her own ego. Sunny Hostin doesn't enter a debate. She arrives with an arsenal, woman, Latina, lawyer, martyr, oracle. And apparently the unchallenged, Dean of Google University. Before she even touches the issue, she slaps down her identity cards like it's a moral Pokemon battle. And to her, that resume? It's supposed to be the mic drop, but here's where it gets dark. Because while Sunny points fingers, calling others condescending, she delivers every single line in that painfully smug, disappointed teacher voice. You know the one, like she just found out you cited Wikipedia in your final paper. We need to educate people, she says, but it never sounds like unity. It sounds like she thinks we all learned politics from cereal boxes and reality. TV reruns. And don't even get us started on the virtue signaling. Sunny's turned public morality into a full-time career. With dental, PTO, and probably her own branded company mug. She doesn't just think she's correct, she believes she's untouchable. Like any disagreement is a sin. And your only salvation? A 4-minute lecture on national TV, complete with a New York Times poll, quote, and that signature, concerned face she wears like armor. But here's the twist nobody talks about. What happens when moral superiority becomes a costume? What if the person telling you to do better isn't living by the standards she preaches? Is this still advocacy?
The Obama years was a cattle call to come into this nation illegally. And furthermore, this is again the left's attempt at emotional blackmail. And I would just like to state, I don't know if they understand this or not, but if you don't want your family to be broken up when you cross the border illegally, here's an idea. Don't cross the border illegally. Then your family will surely stay together. I don't know why the left can't think of this, but they would rather try to tell us that we hate families, we want to break up families, we're horrible, we're despicable. No, we want to enforce federal immigration.
But then, Lauren did the unthinkable. She shattered the illusion. On live TV, the moment she walked in, the energy shifted. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She held up a mirror, and what Sunny saw wasn't pretty. Because here's the dark truth they've been dancing around for years. You can't preach like you're the nation's moral compass, while casually rewriting your values to fit the moment. And Lauren, she didn't flinch. She exposed it. Not with drama, but with deadly precision. She reminded us all, integrity isn't an accessory. It's not something you wear when it looks good. It's something you keep. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when no one's clapping. That's when the whole house of cards started to tremble. Sunny, who's used to dominating every table, cracked. She stumbled. She panicked. And right on cue, she hit the emergency switch, the classic escape hatch. She played the struggle card like it was an invisibility cloak. As a woman of color, boom, accountability, gone, like smoke under stage lights. But here's where things get even crazier. Lauren didn't even blink. She didn't get flustered. She didn't buy the performance. She stood there, stone cold, and she unloaded. Contradiction after contradiction lined up. Like receipts on a checkout counter. Each one delivered with surgical precision, each one cutting deeper than the last. No yelling, no theatrics, just facts. That left the internet shook, and now fans are asking the question no one dared to speak out loud. If everything she said was built on performance,
You've resonated with so many people. I think, in large part, I represent Middle America. So you've got the two coasts, and those individuals seem to kind of just talk to each other. And then you've got all of Middle America right there that's dying to have a voice. They don't really feel like they have one. They're not represented, beyond their communities. So I think they watch me and they say, well, she speaks like I do. She thinks like I do. She seems to maybe get it like I do. And I think that's why it's resonated. And also, I do something very different. There's not a whole lot of young conservative women out there. And so I provide that for a lot of...
She thought no one would ever challenge her throne. But then it happened, and everything shattered. Lauren didn't just argue, she exposed. With calm, brutal precision, she sliced through Sunny's carefully crafted facade. No theatrics, no shouting, just pure truth. Sunny's polished outrage popped, like a balloon in a room full of pins. Suddenly, all that righteous energy, useless. The internet caught fire. Clips circulated, memes took over. People weren't just watching, they were laughing. The downfall was happening in real time, and no one could look away. Sunny tried to recover. She reached for her usual weapons. Smug looks, buzzwords, a dramatic, as a woman of color defense. But it was too late. Lauren stood calm, unbothered, like a surgeon with receipts instead of scalpels. Each contradiction she revealed hit harder than the last. Sunny was unraveling, and no one hit pause, because when your brand is built on hashtag morality and soundbite sermons, someone's eventually going to check the receipts. And when they do, you better bring more than condescending tone and that, I can't believe, I have to explain this, vibe. Sunny's persona felt like a TED Talk nobody wanted. All gloss, no substance. And now we're all wondering, was it ever real? Or just noise behind neatly folded lies?
We keep on talking about criminals and immigrants being criminals. And I just want people to understand what the facts are and the stats are, is that undocumented immigrants are much less likely to have committed crimes than American citizens. American citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented. I also want to make the point that an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she is undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is in and of itself, I think, xenophobic and racist.
While Sunny posed at the top of her moral penthouse, sipping self-righteousness like designer tea, the ground beneath her was silently collapsing, one contradiction at a time. No explosions, just quiet destruction. Cold, calculated, inevitable. Every time she dodged a challenge, shut down real discourse, or folded under pressure, her carefully built image took another hit. Not loud, but lethal. Then came the cleanup crew. Her defenders rushed in with the usual emergency PR spin. She was ambushed. She was taken out of context. Please, if irony had a face, it'd be side-eyeing that excuse into another dimension. Because let's be real, if anyone's perfected the art of passive-aggressive warfare, it's Sunny, the queen of smiling takedowns. A woman who can start a sentence with all due respect, and end it with a verbal decapitation. Polished, poised, and quietly brutal. But this time, the charm cracked. No amount of Ivy League venom or made-for-TV smugness could save her, because Lauren didn't just beat her. She demolished her. No yelling, no theatrics. Just calm, precise obliteration. Sunny Hostin, the self-proclaimed intellectual powerhouse of daytime TV, was outplayed, outclassed, and left speechless. She never even saw it coming. And now, we're all asking the same thing. Was this a one-time collapse or the beginning of the end?
Democrats really want to die on the hill of bringing back plane loads of criminal, illegal alien gang members.
But you haven't proven that they're criminals.
Please.
That's the problem.
Be my guest.
Honestly, look, I will be the first one to say if there is a criminal, if there's a gang member in this country someone who has committed any crime, big or small, get him out. Sure, I'll absolutely concede that. We don't need criminals in this country. But if you're talking about somebody who you don't know because you haven't afforded them due process, then you can't just make that claim.
But the fact remains, President Trump is not only securing our border, but he is deporting criminal, illegal aliens. And if Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and they want to tell their constituents, hey, vote for us in the midterms, vote for us in 2028, we'll make sure that the criminal aliens come back, far be it for me to stand in.
All it took was one moment. Lauren didn't yell, didn't flinch. She just held up the metaphorical mirror. And Sunny crumbled. That smirk, that smug head tilt, that over-seasoned self-importance baked into every sentence reflected right back at her. And the result? Sunny slow-roasted herself into irrelevance. No spice, no drama needed, just the raw truth. This wasn't a simple fumble. It was the grand finale of a meltdown years in the making. Sunny's been cracking under the pressure of her own ego for so long, someone should have handed her a hard hat and hung a warning sign. Caution. Fragile opinions may collapse under light debate. Because let's be honest, her takes have never been about the issues. It's always been about her, the performance, the spotlight, the constant drum roll before launching into, I think what's important to understand is, cue the overdramatic monologue. But what followed? Not insight, not nuance, just a glittery word salad of emotional overkill dressed up as intellectual gold. She wasn't informing. She was performing. And this time, the audience didn't cheer. They blinked, stunned. Then came Lauren, cool as ice. No buzzwords, no need to shout, just silent precision. And with that, Sunny's stage lights dimmed. What happened wasn't a debate loss. It was a public unmasking. So now the question is, was this the end of Sunny's act, or just the opening scene of her fall from grace?
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home? In your residence, do you have a lock on your door? Do you use that lock?
I do. Yeah, I do.
You have an alarm?
And why is that? Well, I mean, you lock your door. You lock your door because you want to know who's coming into your home. It's not because you hate the people outside. It's because you love the people inside. Well, that's what needs to be done with the United States of America. That's why we have a border. We have a right to know who's coming into our country and why. That's what keeps us safe.
She didn't need to shout. She didn't need to storm off. Lauren didn't break a sweat because Sunny did all the damage herself. No walk-offs, no screaming matches, no meme-worthy eye rolls. Just destruction in slow motion. Silent, surgical. Savage, Lauren lit the match, then calmly walked away. While Sunny's empire of contradictions went up in flames, this wasn't a debate. This was an implosion. The internet watched live as Sunny tripped over buzzwords like they were booby traps she set for herself. Every sentence, a shovel. And Sunny digging faster than ever. There were no knockout punches. Lauren didn't have to go for the jugular. She just sat there, smirking, eyebrows raised, dropping the occasional, interesting, like gasoline on a bonfire. She didn't fight Sunny. She freed her to unravel in front of millions. The most brutal part, Sunny genuinely thought she was winning. She believed she was delivering a mic drop moment, a brilliant takedown, but all she really delivered was a self-authored downfall, broadcast in high definition, with Lauren as the calm conductor of chaos. Fans didn't just watch, they rewatched, analyzed, memed it into digital history, and now the question that's echoing across the timeline, if Sunny couldn't see this coming, what else has she been blind to all along?
But what I would like to point out is that there is no correlation between undocumented people and a rise in crime. That's statistically accurate. Immigrants, including undocumented immigrants, are less likely to commit crimes in the United States. So this notion somehow that it's about national security, I think is just...
And that's the sinister genius of it all. She wasn't exposing anyone. She was exposing herself. Live on air while thinking she was dominating. It was haunting. It was chaotic. And it was legendary. Lauren didn't flinch, didn't throw shade, didn't even raise her voice. All she did was lift a crystal clear mirror and let Sunny stare into her own unraveling. Every smug half smile, every eye roll dipped in condescension, every hollow hot take that collapsed under its own ego came crashing right back. No interruptions, no viral walk-offs, just raw exposure. This wasn't a debate, it was a cinematic reckoning. Sometimes, the most savage win is silence, letting them talk until the ground vanishes beneath their own arguments, and talk Sunny did. Like she was the last voice of reason in a burning building she helped set on fire. But here's the twist. Don't feel sorry for her. Sunny doesn't burn, she bounces. Like cable TV Teflon, new day, new monologue, same tone. Here's why. I'm right, and the world is just catching up. Meanwhile, the panel stares ahead, wide-eyed, praying they survive the next segment without needing a thesaurus. But if she didn't learn from this, what will it take to finally crack? The armor